Hello, welcome to the Everyday Ordinary Extraordinary podcast. I'm Martina and I'm here with Christina.
Hello, everyone.
And we are so excited to be here with you for another episode. So we were inspired to create this podcast after pondering on this question. What would the world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually we are very quick to compare and judge ourselves and others. And when we do that, everybody's losing. Depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I come out lacking, or arrogant and dismissive because I feel superior. And those are the only two options. And neither of those options make us feel good. Now, here's our thought. Someone's everyday normal is someone else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from first impressions, and we invite you, the listener, to go beyond first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There's inspiration at every corner, in everyone, if we're willing to look. And today we're here with Sharon. Sharon, do you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And I'm excited to have this conversation. And I was just thinking, how do I introduce myself? It's such a funny label, like that we have to label ourselves. And I guess if I have to label myself, I see myself as a visionary transformational coach for mostly for women. And I work with women that are both in the corporate world and entrepreneurs, but I love helping them actually see themselves and how extraordinary they are and be able to reach their big goals or their big dreams, really, with joy and lightness is what I love to do.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And Sharon, I've known you now for 4 years, right? It was right at the beginning of right before COVID, actually, where we met in this group and having to schedule with people, one in Australia and one you in Texas, which is the other end of the time spectrum, right? So it was either one gets up very early or the other one gets up very early. And I've seen you just evolve and grow and step more and more into your power. And it's almost like being so courageous. That is so beautiful to watch. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Now, Sharon, if we really knew you, what would we know about you?
That's a good question. If you really knew me, I'm here for the magic. I love to play mind, body, and spirit. I love to see the beauty in everyone and everything. I love adventure. I love change and new things, creating new things and being creative and just and then of course connection with friends, new friends, both new and old, and my family, of course. So
yeah, you're a mom. You have two college students, right?
I do.
And you live in Austin, which is a really cool city.
Yeah. I have two girls, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have my life for sure.
You were in marketing before, right?
I was in marketing, and mostly the high-tech world, for over 25 years, and lots of different roles in the marketing, wearing the marketing hat. But yeah, and that was an interesting transition to I guess be in that world as a woman, right? And it's fast-paced, and that's not the problem, but it's like, trying to have a seat at the table. I mean, we've all experienced it and heard it, and then, I basically burned myself out and decided to become a coach. And that was it has been the most courageous journey of really self-discovery. This whole entrepreneurship is really a self-discovery. And what I found in helping people reach their big dreams is them doing it for themselves first, and really allowing themselves to know all the parts of themselves and accept and love and embrace and allow themselves to be all that they are. So that's what I love about it.
It's so powerful. So Sharon, was your path to your coaching where you are now, was it your own burnout? Was that what led you to where you are now?
Yes, it was exactly. I was working in, at the time I was traveling a lot, and my company was going through a reorg, and I was just, I was kind of at a place where I literally told my boss, which who I had a great relationship with, they were going through a reorg, and I was being put under somebody that I felt was very toxic. And I basically told him, look, I can't do this. You got to find me something else in the organization. And he came back and said, you know what? There's nothing I can do. And then we had holidays, and then the whole holiday I was like sitting in like fear, right? Or like worry and what's going to happen. And then we come back from holidays, and he keeps canceling our one-on-ones. And I'm like, well, he's just not going to give me what I want. So he's just gonna, let that go. And then finally we meet, and he says, well, I have some news. And he hands me basically lets me go. And it was pretty much a big shock. But at the same time, the overwhelming feeling was relief. And then that was just a big clue for myself that, hey, something was really off. It was not right with, I mean, if you had asked me at the time, I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing. I'm working for this really cool company. And it was, a company focused on being creative and, all this kind of stuff. But ultimately it was time. It was time for me to make a shift and figure out what it is that really lights my soul up, as opposed to, I bought into the whole, get the best job, the highest paying job, try to get the all the things, And this was just the big shove from my soul saying like, hey, this is not what you came here for. So yeah, it was this overwhelming relief. And then I had some time to really kind of heal from my burned outness, and really do a lot of self-discovery. And I was actually really blessed, because I kind of knew I was burnt out. And I had come across this like self-development training class, but it was like $10,000. I was like, I've never invested that in myself other than like college, right? And so I was like, and then I got let go. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. But then I had I guess the audacity to ask him if the company would pay, and they did. And yeah, and so that kind of really sent me down this path of deep self-discovery. And I realized I love this. I love this. And what I love now, what I'm realizing is, well, not just I love seeing people live on purpose and, really kind of go after their dreams, but I get to have a front row seat to it all, people sharing their heart and their, what they're going through and all that. I get to have a front row seat to it and really help them through it. So it's just amazing. I love it.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it is the being so present to another person that allows the magic to unfold, right? And you were saying, right, as an entrepreneur, it is like ultimately it's the journey to heal yourself, because otherwise there's really nothing else, right? And it's ongoing, right? And it's like, okay, then there's the next level, and then there's the next level, and there's the next level. And yeah, it's an ongoing journey, right? Then we slough away the next one and the next one. So beautiful.
Yeah. There were two pieces there for me. A, just trusting the process, right? Like it wasn't on your radar to switch careers, but you saw the opportunity and kind of did that little self-check, right? But also the asking for help, like, right, you didn't know how you were going to manifest the money for the course, but You're like, oh, what do I have to lose? I'm going to ask for it, right?
Yeah.
And I love that piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I think this entrepreneurship is all about courage. It takes a lot of courage to make a big shift. So, in your second half of life, right? Like you built all this stuff, you're walking away, and you may not have the support of those around you, because everyone, like my mom was like, "Why are you doing that?" And my husband was like, "No, I don't think you should do that."
Do that.
So it took a lot of courage to do that, and I recognize that and honor that part of myself that I did follow my heart.
Yeah. Well, it is coming back to yourself. That's part of what I
Mhm.
hear and what you're saying, right? It's just like it's it's not fighting against anybody. It's just standing up for yourself and what you believe and what works for you and what you need, right? And that's something that is so needed in our
Mhm.
world for everyone, right? Like really for everyone, men and women, doesn't matter, right? But there's something about how we women have been raised
Yeah.
to be a step behind, right? To be
Mhm.
quiet, to do, to help, to be, to say, no,
Yeah.
I want to go this way. This way we're going. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's so, so powerful when we get to claim ourselves, right? When we get to really look at what do I want right now? What do I need right now? Because sometimes just asking what do I want is just so overwhelming, but right now, just right now, this moment, what do I want right now? Or what do I need right now? Is, yeah, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. So Sharon, what do you consider your superpower to be?
Hmm. Hmm. Gosh, I think we all have so many. So
Just go ahead.
and then here the whole like modesty, right? Of we're taught to be modest, right? No, but I would say it's really being able to see people and and be a way shower, an uplifter, be be able to see through to the real truth of the matter, which is ultimately love, right? I mean, we live in a world that's very polarized, and the funny thing is, like, based on their view, where they stand, they're not wrong, right? And so it's not making somebody wrong, but it's seeing the bigger picture and to be able to hold that um, with compassion, with what they're going through and what they're seeing, and enable them to see the bigger picture, or just accepting where they are and let them know that that's or recognizing that that's their journey and it's okay. It's their path and what they want to experience.
Yeah, I think sometimes the hardest part is just trusting the timing, right? Like we think our timing is supposed to look like everyone else's timing, right? Like I'm supposed to go, whatever, go to college and find a girl and a guy and get married and but who says it's supposed to look that way? But yeah, we're constantly comparing ourselves to others and thinking we're supposed to be on some crazy imaginary timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and we want to control the timeline as well. It's not just that we compare ourselves to others, but we think that we know how the timeline should go, right?
Yes.
Right.
Which
Right.
then really gets us in trouble, right? And it's the setup for disappointment and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really kind of the way I see it now is like almost letting go of control of your human self and allowing your higher self or your soul or whatever to take the lead, and that's and to be able to trust that, really, I think it's the ultimate.
Takes practice, but it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So Sharon, I'm going to give you a multi-part question, and maybe one answer for all of it. You may want to take a piece of it. I'll read them and you can answer how you want. So what made you who you are today? So for example, what was your biggest lesson? What took the most courage? Or when did you stand for something that mattered?
Those are a lot of questions. Yeah, what made me who I am today? I would say, I guess just my life experience and the different things that I went through. Learning to trust myself, learning to I think I was caught up in the mindset of like always trying to prove myself. And I was pretty ambitious, right? And not that ambition is wrong, I don't think, because we all have like these dreams that we want to fulfill. But it's really learning about how to hold them with lightness and joy and passion and recognize them. And then it's committing, like being devoted to them almost, like in who you are and what you want to become, and then ultimately allowing your unique, authentic self to come forward and shine. And that's how you call in your tribe, because that's when people really see you, you're like, oh, I get her, she's like me, like, and then you're with your people, as opposed to wearing all these masks that we kind of feel in the beginning of life that we have to wear to fit in, to be accepted, and ultimately when we hide ourselves that way, we're unfulfilled and we don't feel like we belong because we're not with people we belong with, because we're pretending to be somebody we're not.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I think when we're younger, we're always like, you want the outfits or the makeup or whatever, like the cool whatever, right? But I think as you get more and more at ease with who you really are, more comfortable in your own skin, it's not any of those things that people are attracted to. It's that happiness, that energy that you're exuding, right? When you're just being your authentic self and happy to be there, it's the energy that people are attracted to. It's not any of that clothes or makeup or crap. It's just your energy. That's it.
Exactly.
And the thing is that we think that we know what people are looking for, but really we have no idea. So we make up a persona that we don't even know because they don't know us, but we make up in our minds that they're expecting certain things. So it's all a construct of our minds. It's just really like it's really mind-boggling if you really think about that, right? It's a construct that nobody really asks for because they don't know us, so they don't know. And we're making up something based on our past or on what we saw out there and what people really
Somebody else
want.
made up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what people really want is us, right? It's our heart, it's our, vulnerability, it's our openness.
Acceptance and love.
Yeah. Like us showing up. Like, yeah, like the more work we do on ourselves, the more we come back to loving ourselves. Right? First, we have so much more energy because we don't need to be trying to manage our environment all the time. But it's also people are really attracted to that.
Yeah.
When we show ourselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
We feel better.
Like the warts and all, right? Yeah. Yeah. So Sharon, tell us a funny or silly or embarrassing story about yourself.
Funny, silly, embarrassing. Comes to mind immediately, but one kind of back to this whole authenticity thing is I heard this like story about people, people love, right? People love it when they see you make mistakes, and because they feel more real, right? And so somebody told me a reframe, and I just love it, that, like whenever you make a mistake, you could just think, oh, I'm so sexy, because people are seeing you more in that light, like, oh, you're more human, you're more attractive, right? And so anytime, instead of that inner critic coming in and just saying, why'd you do that? Blah, 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 right? Just say, well, you can comfort that part of you, but you just, oh, look at me, I'm so sexy.
I love that reframe. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Something just came back about what we were talking before, and that's with regards to, you said ambition, right? And I just want to make a brief distinction from where that comes from, right? Is it your drive? Like is it your soul that has that kind of longing to go a certain place, or is it the inner patriarch, right? That we all have, right? Like I'm right there, that comes with the whip and tells us you have to produce results, right? And it's a distinct and different place to come from, right? Because you were talking about the ambition before, and there's nothing wrong with ambition, there's nothing wrong with ambition, and it depends on where it comes from and if it fills you up and makes you satisfied in a way. That's not the right word, but yeah.
It's, I mean, you're so spot on. And I feel like for me, it's both. It's like, in the beginning of my story, my timeline or whatever, some of it was like buying into these other stories, like, this is what you do, do follow the path. But I think one of the things I love using with my clients is human design and gene keys. And if I look at my design, one of the biggest energies in there is the shadow of desire, like this longing, like wanting more, right? And that wanting more can be connection. It could be, that ambition, that, a lot of things, right? And so, yeah, I think it comes from all of it. But there's, I use the word shadows, but I wanted to describe it more like if we have an intention to have certain experiences and to feel a certain way, like our desires are leading us to feel a certain way, and our and for us to feel that way and to really understand it, we go into the depth of the opposite, so we can really, feel the greatness of the thing we wanted to feel. This is making sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And again, it is that part of like your innate drive, right? Like if it is in human design, it's part of your makeup, right? Which is distinct and different of the inner patriarch, because the inner patriarch is that subpersonality, that part of us that is, my inner patriarch always comes with a whip.
Well, yeah, the inner patriarch is what's going to exhaust us, right? And when we're coming from our authentic self, and when it's just a passion, hopefully you're not exhausting yourself, right? Because you're listening to your body along the way. Yeah.
And really, ultimately, it's about becoming your authentic self. When you follow your desires and you let your heart lead the way, and not, and commit to it, I guess, commit to it. And that's really what allows you to shine and come into your greatness.
So tell us about a time you took a chance for love And it doesn't have to be romantic love, but tell us about a time you took a chance for love.
I would say, well, I guess I would talk about my husband here, right? We had met at Compact way back when in Houston, and we decided to move to Austin together, which meant, quitting your job and like changing your friends and like all of that before we were married and all that. So I guess that would be a big leap in like, faith as far as like what's going to happen and, following your heart again. So one.
Saying yes. Right?
Saying yes, saying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you were also talking about, like when you left your job, right? And then saying yes to you with regards to the coaching, no matter what anybody said around you, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. That was a big one. Yeah, putting myself first and it's a practice, like especially in the beginning, every day saying that to yourself. Yeah. Allowing yourself to have the courage to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, and, especially as an entrepreneur, right? Like allowing yourself to get on to podcasts and share your story and meeting new people. And, I guess it's part of it. Trusting yourself.
Yeah. I mean, meeting new people, that's like a chance for love every day. Right, because we have to, again, as we were talking just a moment ago, right, we have to let go of all the inhibitions in the circle, what people are expecting of us, and oh my goodness, what are they going to think of me, and just show up, right?
Right.
Show up.
Right.
Beautiful.
Show up in your energy.
So, Sharon, what do you do to recharge? Like, how do you fill your batteries? Fills you up?
Well, I love walking in nature. There's this place in Austin we go hiking, and I love listening to, uplifting podcasts and things like that while I'm hiking. It's kind of like feeding my mind and my spirit at the same time. That's one of my favorite things to do on the weekends. And then the other thing I love to do is there's a woman here in Austin that teaches a dance class, actually. And I went there today. It was good. It's called Prani Shakti, and it's really about like moving stuck energy. Kind of has that combination of yoga and qigong and like freestyle Nia dance. It's like all kind of brought together in her unique modality. But it's a wonderful community, and in the movement, I think is really helpful. Helps you get out of your head, helps you get into your body and feel. Yeah, it's a lovely. She plays music that is, very uplifting and very like positive affirmations, type thing. Like you're just taking it in. So it's a multiple level, experience. So
Sounds amazing.
it's nice.
Yeah.
It does, and it is like movement will help us. Like if we're in a funk, and just putting on a song and start dancing to it, right? Whether it is what you're doing, but like just really coming back to our body, right? I think that's part of what I heard. It's like, yeah, beautiful.
Back to your body and being with yourself,
Yeah. And creating that space for that stuck energy to move, right? Like the intention, the space, all of that.
Yeah. And the other part of that is it's kind of meditative too. She'll have you like be dancing with your higher self or your inner child or your grandmother's or whatever, So I guess the other piece that I would say what recharges me is meditation or journaling, things like that,
Yeah.
Normal.
All tools in the toolbox, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just got to remember to use them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So Sharon, if you had a magic wand and could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
Well, I think we've talked about it a lot, but allowing people to see who they truly are and know who they are, like in their bones, know who they are, and to be able to walk through life that way, fully, authentic, their authenticity and their brilliant, shining self, yeah, if people really knew that, they wouldn't make decisions out of fear. They would begin to make decisions out of love. And I think that's really what changes the world. So that would be what I would
Yeah,
give everyone. Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah, love definitely changes everything.
Yeah.
I just recently read Debbie Ford's Courage, and she talks about the culprit is fear. Fear is always the culprit, you know.
Yeah.
And part of it is because we're big. Well, part of it is because we don't acknowledge it, we shove it down, like whatever else we do about it. But part of it is also because we let it run the show, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't say, okay, let me take you by the hand and do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's part of the human experience, right? With like even our bodies, right? Its primary function is to survive the next moment. And so we have that first and foremost, like that protective piece of us.
Yeah.
And but it's such a journey to be able to like comfort that, like you said, and then make decisions from what you want to create. Like whatever whatever energy you're in when you take the next step is what you're going to be creating, is what's going to be reflected back to you. So if you are making decisions out of fear, you're creating more fear, and that fear is going to come right back to you. So it's really coming into the awareness that you are a powerful creator, and you can decide what you want to create. And you're not, now you've heard this, probably your audience of all, you're not your thoughts and you're not your feelings. So you get to choose those thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, that's what I would tell my children. The only thing you have control over is your words, your thoughts, and your actions.
Yeah.
The rest just happens. So you get to choose.
Right.
Yeah. Beautiful. So who or what do you want to be when you grow up? If you could be anything or anyone, what would you be and why? So if there's no restrictions, no limitations.
No restrictions and no limitations.
And just so you know, we had fairies and we had mermaids and we had the Bank of Love. That was a recent one. It was so beautiful. So,
Yeah, I love that.
who or what?
Who or what? I love that. I mean, ultimately love. Yeah, I think who wouldn't want to be embodiment of love and impacting the world that way? That sounds amazing. And if I had to be a fairy to do that, or that would be even more fun.
And why? Like, why love?
Why love? Oh, because love is the only thing that really um, creates the change. Not that we necessarily need the change, like it's all about the experience, but because that's what's fun and joyful and feels good, and we're here for the experience and the emotions and the feelings of it. And so that's what gets you there.
Yeah, I think we get caught up in getting to our destinations, right? And for me, it's all about the journey. The destination is just my carrot, whether I achieve it or not. I mean, yeah, I'd like to achieve all my goals, right? But I don't see them that way. I just see them as just what gets me in action, right? Like what gets me to get on the court playing this game of life, right? And so yeah, if I get there, I get there. That's just extra bonus, right?
Yeah.
And if you do it with love, then it's easy. Well, not easy, but easier.
It's more enjoyable, right? It's more fun. It's you meet,
Yeah,
you have better experiences with the people on that journey when you're
yeah.
grounded in love.
Other things show up, and you get to see different things if you stand in love rather than
Yeah, and you get some cool, diversions along the way, right? Like, in one of Rebecca Campbell's cards, it's her stone deck. There's a roadblock card, and it's all about how roadblocks sometimes are there just to slow you down, right? Because the timing isn't right. But sometimes they're there to just completely change your course. You didn't know you're on, not that it was the wrong course, but maybe there was a better course for you to get on, right? And so, but we see roadblocks as like, oh my God, like, no, I didn't need you, but they're there because we do need them, right? Whether it's because we need to take care of ourselves before we go on the journey, but what we get is always what we need in the moment, whether we can acknowledge it or not.
Maybe it's a detour, maybe it's a lesson, or somehow we would need to grow into that to be able to embrace that part of it too.
Yeah, good stuff.
Love that.
So what are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful for mm, the journey, my friends, my family, my daughters, my husband. I have so much I could just list and list and list and list. But yeah, I think it's a good practice to be in that gratitude, to recognize how abundant you really are in every aspect of your life when you allow yourself to be. And recognizing that we have what we want, and we want what we have.
That's cool when you're satisfied right here, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The feeling of fulfillment.
Yeah. So, what are you most proud of? So, what do you consider your biggest accomplishment?
I would say my daughters. I mean, that would be, what I'm most proud of and my greatest accomplishment. They're both doing amazing and beautiful human beings. So I just love watching them and their journey and their choices and their experiences. It's the fun part of being a mother. It's like watching part of you like go out into the world but part of you, but not part of you, both. Part of you with its own mind, its own choices, its own opinions, its own everything. So that would definitely be what I'm most proud of. I have one that's at UT, and she's studying business. She's in the business school there, and the other one is at Georgia Tech, and she's studying biomedical engineering and potentially looking at either being a doctor or a PA or something like that. So both of them are on this amazing path, and yeah, very proud of them.
I remember seeing a sticker, a bumper sticker that said "Proud Parent." Period. I was like, absolutely, I'm all for that, right? It's not proud parent of a student of blah blah blah, or it's just proud parent. Period, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're amazing. Our children are amazing. How they see the world. They do have it's like they came in with a broader perspective, right? They didn't get all the conditioning that we had, right? They're more accepting, they're more following their hearts and acting with kindness. So I love it.
Yeah, but they're stepping on our shoulders, right? They're just following
Right.
your
Example that you're setting.
the example that you're setting, right? And it's, I think that's fascinating to watch, really, like to watch my daughter step out and be so clear on who they are. But I know they're standing on my shoulders as I'm standing on my ancestors' shoulders, right? It's like, yeah.
But I mean, your daughters watched you change careers. I mean, and go out on your own and do something that's such a cool inspiration for them. And really,
yeah, learn to trust themselves and
and doing that deep work on yourself, and they get to watch that, right? Like this is where you need to start. You got to love yourself, and for them to have that example so young in life, that's really beautiful.
yeah, it's interesting, the relationship, because as a coach with all this training, right, you're like, it comes so natural just to coach people, and so you got it, there's got to be a boundary, because then they'll just be like, what, no. So but I still think they pick up pieces, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So good. All right, so we're talking about your coaching. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for you to brag about your coaching business and tell people how they can reach you and what you offer and all that good stuff.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, you can reach me at SharonSeaberg.com, and I do have some free gifts on my website that you can download. One of them is called Embracing Your Divine Self, a 5-piece meditation set, and it's the day. This is being recorded the day after the election, so if you're looking for some calmness, there's some good meditations that you can get. And the other one is around learning how to come back to yourself and get out of conflict. How to really use that pause and make decisions from a place of what you want to create. So.
How fantastic and how timely. I think there's a beautiful offerings to our community right now. So yeah.
And you're, Sharon, you're working you said mostly with women. And is it women in business, women in leadership positions? What is it exactly that you're?
I'm doing a little bit of both now. So most of my came out of the corporate environment. So that was who I was focusing on first, was women in corporate, and allowing them to come into their authenticity and become the leader that they're striving to be, right? And doing it in a place of knowing who they are and reaching those big dreams. And I've had seen some amazing. It's so fun. It's like one woman I started work with her 2 years ago, and she was a senior director, and now she's a GM at a big tech company, and she is an engineer, and she is Black, and so she has all these things that she faces every day, and just to see her blossom and reach her goals and her dreams. And then the flip side, seeing her with an open heart and how she's helping her community and helping those others around her and her company is amazing as well. So
That's actually what we need, right? The open-hearted leaders, right? The really heart-centered leaders.
Heart-centered leaders, exactly. And then I've also been working with entrepreneurs lately and helping them get really clear on who they are and what they're offering to the world. And that's been a blast too, really seeing them lit up. And when you're able to really see yourself, it really changes you. Because we know we have all these different facets of ourselves, but like, how do you pull it all together?
Yeah, or own all of it, right? Like you can own little pieces of it, but can you own all of it?
Exactly.
And that's Sharon Seaberg.
Sharon Seaberg, SEABERG.com.
Yeah, and we're going to put all of that in the notes so that people can find it, but I just wanted to make sure we repeat that.
Awesome. Sharon, thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability, your vision and creativity, and most of all, your passion and open heart. Just had a blast with you today. Thank you everyone for listening today. If you love this, please leave us a review. Please share with your friends. And please remember, you are extraordinary and you rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Martina.
Bye for now. Sharon, you want to say bye?
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Such a fun conversation.